Hello, Felicity.
Today we're going to talk about the volume of spheres. Spheres are in here because it's another relationship with pi. But I will tell you the formula. If you go a long way, you can kind of see how they're related. I'm not going to go that distance with you because it's just easier to tell you the formula. Is that terrible? If for some reason you get really bored later in life, you can look up how they're related. So, we're looking at a sphere, and I want you to think about this. A sphere really is kind of a cylinder, right? It's got a height, which is its diameter. It's got a radius, which is any point from the center out, in all directions. Oh, look, I can hear music still going, can't I? Give me a moment, I'll turn the music.
Walker's in this?
Coach Walker.
Walker.
Hey, sit down.
Okay, so we're going to find the volume of these spheres. I love the word sphere.
It's definitely sphere. Oh, wait.
But I'm going to say sphere. I've always said that way, so I remember how to spell it.
Sheer.
It has nothing to do with anything else. It just helps me remember. There's a couple words I speak weirdly because it helps me spell them.
I say canoe.
Canoe and connive. Okay, so the formula, this one's going to be its completely own unique formula. It's 4/3 or 1 1/3 pi r cubed. Cubed. It's going to be different. This is not a square. This is going to be the most common error you're going to make.
Yep.
Outside of confusing diameter for radius, which a lot of you are still hooked on. Remember, diameter is not radius. A radius is half a diameter. So if, especially in word problems, Lane, pay attention, especially in word problems where you see it says diameter, whenever you see diameter, like it says diameter 5, cross out diameter 5 and put radius 2.5 right there. If you do that in a word problem, you'll never get sucked into using the diameter. If you don't, if you just read through the word problem, you're going to do what I've seen most of you do, which is just use the diameter because it's a number. The minute you see diameter, think, I don't use diameter in any equation. I don't like diameter. Later on, we'll get one equation that has a possibility of diameter. But you're going to say, I don't like diameter, I like radius. Because radius is my friend. So anytime you see diameter, cross it out, put radius, and then divide the diameter by 2. So let's look at this. First of all, you're going to start this way. Again, the easiest way I can tell what you're doing is if you write the formulas down.
And it gets you extra points.
On tests, it will, because I'm looking for it. You just don't know when I'm looking for it.
On test.
I do.
We do now.
You
revealed your secret.
I did. They're not very big secrets. 4/3 times pi. What's pi? So 4/3 times pi r cubed. And that's 4/3, that's never going to change, times 3.14 times, what's the radius of this? Why do you say 6 and not 12?
Because you have to divide it by 2 because
Yeah.
it's half.
Well, this is the diameter, right? So we need to cross that out and put 6, r equals 6. 6 cubed. Remember, on your calculator, that's that little, you'll go 6 up caret 3.
Oh, you cube on spheres.
On spheres, you cube.
Alright. Well,
Okay, so type that in and see what you get.
Now you're gonna get this thing in my head. I'm gonna be very angry later when I'm sleeping it.
Right now, your guys are reminding me of Smurfs.
What? It definitely reminds you of Lava Girl and Shark Boy.
I
my
don't-
gosh, I rewatched that.
That's what that was from.
Yeah.
Come back there.
I just watched it.
Unless there's a sphere involved, come back.
There's spheres.
Okay, so Caitlin, what'd you get?
Oh. 904.32.
904.32. You're not done.
Squared.
No.
Oh, C
CM.
squared.
Remember, volume is always cubed. Always cubed. All volume is cubed.
Okay.
Which volume is not cubed?
No volume.
No volume is not cubed. All volume is cubed.
Whoa.
Whoa. Okay, we're going to do the same thing we did, although you can go back to the first person talking. First person going to explain what they're doing to the others. The others are going to agree, and then you can write it down.
Which one's the first person? Got it.
The first person's the one on the far left. So in this case, it's Felicity, not you. You're happy about that, aren't you? All right, so get it done.
I love reading the second person.
Oh, I'm gonna make you change here in a bit.
Today?
Into the 6 weeks.
Lexi, don't. B equals
Will you explain it? What's it go on without me?
38.
4. What? 4/3. I don't know. Times 3.1. Yeah.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, yeah. You confused me now. I already added the
Good job. Time.
Oh, Q.
Yes. John agrees.
What is that?
Like, I got 38.7. We're so used to using cubes that around this thing. 38 point.
Okay, yeah.
Do they still have it out or what? Can we not
Once
watch
you
it?
finish out,
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
What did I do? See what I did? Oh, I did it.
Oh yeah.
Alright, hold
Tell
on.
me, you play football, right? You play football like this?
So you do 4/3 times
That's what you're doing here.
I like how you think
Look at him
You
drawing.
play football 4 times. That way if they
Goodbye,
hit you,
Joe
you
Star.
got recourse. If you do back like this, what
Doesn't matter,
happens?
he's just drawing.
If you're just in start. When you do math and everything else, address life like this.
Equals
4.
Lean in like you mean it. If you do that, now it will be easier. Because you'll start full.
What'd you
Just
get?
like in football. If you kick back, have you ever done that? You see people watching the game and they're like this.
No, there's
They know that they're not involved.
7.
They're like
What'd you
somewhere else. Back either or,
38.772.
That was like we
There's certain.
Yep.
Okay,
So, B. We're gonna put B equals 4 with 4.3 R squared equals 4 cubed. I did. Oh, yeah, I did it. Sorry. So cubed squared.
Have y'all gotten two
Oh.
done yet?
yes.
Equals 4/3. We got 3.14 times
Times
38.
38.8
R cubed.
So when you repeat,
times 3.14, 3.5.
because they always round the last number, and then 6 is 0, 5, and they rounded it.
Equal.
Hey, we got it round. So it'd be 170.4. The second number is 0.
Sorry, I don't know the others. I've seen them.
So we have to always
Oh,
let it rest.
Yeah.
The sucker was still
5 or more. We
Okay,
raise
cool.
I got 179.5.
I'm gonna stop getting these.
179.5
Start with my second layer.
centimeters. Oh my gosh, I am so smart. John, your turn. We both. Oh my god, you win. John, you.
Okay, B equals. I already put it in my mouth.
What'd you get?
Q.
I'm happy to do this for you.
170.
Game chocolate?
10.2.
What was that about, John?
What if I give you money, would it be
Can't
happy?
talk.
Why are you throwing things?
It means more relatives around.
Okay, go.
Okay.
You
So
could
B
accept
equals
it, I'm donating it.
B equals 4/3
What I want to donate.
pi r squared equals 4/3
Image.
times 4
That's what I got.
times 1
Because you gotta, you have to one. Yeah.
Not that number.
Wait.
Okay.
Number 4 is the same as number 1. But
No.
the
I'm sorry. 1 cube.
Alright, what'd you get?
4.186 So I have to keep
So
running it up.
what is
No, just do a
It's not.
line and
No,
close it. Wait, Mr. Wheeler, question. So it says 4.1866667.
Let's talk about that in a moment.
179.
Got it. 4.2.
It's one of those things right now. It's another lesson I need to give, so I'm going to give it in a moment, but I want to give it all at once. Okay?
Nearest 10.
Times.
Oh, look, he caught on. Okay, so most of you should be pretty close. Let's go ahead and look through these problems. So,
Yep.
sit up. So, Reed, how do I do number 1 here?
For number 1, V equals 4/3 times pi r cubed equals 4/3 times 3.14 times 2.1 cubed.
You didn't have to convert that down?
No,
Why?
because
Is it already radius?
yeah, it's already.
Good, okay.
And it equals 38.77272.
7,
77272.
okay.
And then when it's centimeter cubed,
Okay,
and then it can be rounded to.
we can. We're going to do that here in a second. Rounding seems to be one of those things that is tough for a lot of people in this class, so we're going to kind of do it as a sub-lesson as part of this. And it's not to say a bad thing, it happens. All right, so number 2. Who's sitting in the middle position? Ben,
Yes, sir.
explain. Go ahead.
Volume equals 4/3 times pi radius cubed,
Okay.
which equals 4/3 divided by times 3.14 times 3.5 cubed. And that'll get you 179.5 centimeters.
Ooh, look, you even ended with the great ending.
Why don't you do 503?
Because it says
Well, and it was 503. Let's go ahead and leave it alone. And I'll.
Aw.
No, Ben, you're
I
right.
had it right.
You read the question right, but I kind of left it out because I kind of wanted to demonstrate little hopping fences. All right, number 3. Wesley?
It's number 3 is V equals 4/3 times pi r cubed
Good job.
equals 4/3 times 3.14 times 1 cubed, and that'll get you 4.2. Wait, no, I forgot. It's 4.18666666667. Oh, and that rounded is 4.2. Centimeter, inches cubed.
Okay. Now, one of those things I've noticed is a lot of you have a hard time rounding. It's very common. Remember, you've got to know your tenths, your hundredths, your thousandths. So the tenths is the first space after the decimal. The hundredths is the second place after the decimal. The thousandths is the third place. Think about the number of zeros. How many zeros are in 10?
1.
So 1 place. Zeros in 100?
2.
2 places. Zeros in 1,000?
3.
Can you see how we can use that?
Yes.
Okay, so this said round to the nearest tenth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put a fence. Let me bring this back down. I'm going to put up a fence or a wall, whatever you want to call it, right after the tenths place. And I'm going to look at the number that follows after. Is that number 5 or greater?
No.
Then it just falls off and goes away.
Oh, it just goes away.
It just goes away.
Just like disappears.
Okay.
Dream, dream, dream.
Now let's look at this one down here. I put my little fence after that. Is the one after a 7, right? Is 7 5 or greater?
Yes.
Then it causes the one before it to get bigger
It goes to 8.
before it disappears. Does that make sense? Okay, you should pay attention.
Easy.
Let's look at this one, and they already tried to do it. I put up the fence. Is 0 5 or greater?
No.
So it just goes away. And I go to the last one, I put up my fence.
Yes.
Is 8 5 or greater?
Yes. Yeah.
So it causes the one before it to get bigger before it goes away.
Yay.
All right, let's look at the last one here. It says Coach Walker measures the diameter of a ball as 12 inches. How many cubic inches of air does this ball hold to the nearest tenth? So I've got a ball, right? I draw my ball. By the way, here's how to draw a sphere. Did you like how I did that real fast?
What?
I just drew a circle and then I drew a little oval that connected both sides, and it makes it kind of look like a sphere.
Yes.
So across, it's 12 inches, right? So what's the formula? B equals 4/3 pi r squared. Pi r cubed. QB. So 4/3 times 3.14 times 6. Why 6 and not 12?
Because 12 is the
So we want the radius, which is 6 inches, and that's r, times 6 cubed. Go ahead and find the answer. For those of you who figured it out, it's the same as the example.
Oh, shoot.
Bang. What'd you get, Tel?
I got, wait, isn't it? See, 904.3
0.3.
Centimeters,
It's not centimeters.
inches. Oh, inches cubed.
Very good. So this is one of those, the cylinder and the cone, we knew that they used the same formula except the cone was 1/3. Sphere kind of has its own. Remember that yellow sheet? Look on the yellow sheet, put your finger on the formula for the volume of the sphere. Volume of the sphere. Everyone got it? Put your finger on the formula for the volume of the sphere. There's some fingers I don't see.
John.
Put your finger on the volume of somebody else's formula.
Said no.
Good job. Okay. So remember that formula is different. If you always begin by writing the formula that you're using, we're going to get to where we're doing composite figures, where there's a bunch of different shapes all attached together. To figure out the volume, you've got to do each individual formula. You can do that by writing out the formulas. Okay? Any questions?